Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're playing Life is Like a Box of Chocolates by Willpower, actually. Now, if you don't recognize this phrase, if you're young enough to not to have seen the incredible movie that is Forrest Gump, do yourself a favor, go out, go out, rent it, buy it, watch it. It's just a phenomenal movie that just really tugs at the heartstrings. And in that movie, there's that famous scene where I think it was actually Forrest that was taking a box of chocolates to somebody he loves and sits next to an elderly lady in a park and essentially started to sort of give her some of those chocolates that are in the box and quotes his mom that life is like a box of chocolates and then recounts his whole life story to her. Just fantastic movie. Now, I don't entirely agree with the sentence that life is like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get. One thing I know you're going to get with a box of chocolates is take a look at how slim and trim Sleuth look like here, when he was a bit younger. So a few too many boxes of chocolates and, think of what Sleuth normally looks like instead. Life advice aside, let's put all of that to one end and let's take a look at what we have in store for today. We have Life is Like a Box of Chocolates by Willpower. And a relatively short set of rule sets that can actually all fit on the screen in normal font size. So that's a nice refresh. We have the following set of rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. So that means place the digits 1 to 9 once in each row, in each column, and in every 3x3 box, as outlined by the thicker black lines. We also have RENBAN. So people and box of chocolates. So yeah, I should have actually remarked on that before I got started with the rule sets. Take a look at this incredible drawing, as usual, from Willpower. So we've got essentially in red the bench there at the back, and you can see that it's like a 3-seater park bench with a gap in the middle between, I think this is the elderly lady. You've got like a skirt in here, sitting down, facing Forrest Gump, and Forrest Gump on the other end presenting the box of chocolates. So I guess my memory of the movie is roughly accurate. And of course, here is a box of chocolates in between them, as depicted in the picture. So it does go on to say RENBAN, as in people and box of chocolates. So that's the purple lines and the light blue line are RENBAN lines. So that they are each a set of non-repeating consecutive numbers in any order. So imagine that this is a 1, for example. Then all of these cells have to be consecutive with that 1. So it's 2, 3, 4. It could be in any order, so I could do 2, I could do 3, I could do 4. It doesn't matter that they're not all entirely in order as long as on aggregate they are consecutive. Now take this a bit further. Imagine that's a 1. I could do 2, 3, and 4. But what I can't do is a 1. I cannot repeat a digit on the RENBAN line. I also cannot place a digit that is not consecutive because the 5 has no 4 next to it to connect it to the rest of this RENBAN line. So that's RENBAN. We also have Dutch Whispers, which is the bench in here, this red line in the back, / background. So numbers on red lines are at least 4 apart from their neighbors on the line. So let me pick this one as an example. If this was a 2, this would have to be 4 or more away. That could be 6, 7, 8, or 9, or 6, 7, 8, or 9. That totally works. If that was a 7, that could be a 6, and that's fine. One thing that I normally point out with German whisper lines, for those of you that are familiar with those, is that they tend to go high digit, low digit, high digit, low digit. And you'd be tempted to think that is happening here because the 7, to be 4 or more away from another digit, would be 3 or 1 because we've already got 2 in the row. However, that's not true because normally on German whispered lines, I cannot place a 5. But in this case, I could do a 9 and a 1, and now I can do something like a 6, for example, over here. Let's go with 7. So now notice I've gone high, middle, low, high. So just keep an eye out for where the 5s can go. They can be very tricky and can reverse the polarity of the line without you expecting it. Right, last rule, that I imagine most of you are going to be familiar with is the killer cages. So numbers in cages sum to the number in the top left corner of the cage. So essentially these dashed lines are outlining cells that have to, when you sum them, add up to the number in the top left corner. So these 3 cells have to sum up to 23. These 4 cells have to sum up to 14. If I place a 2 in this 6 cage, this would have to be a 4 to make sure these 2 cells sum up to 6. So if you fancy a piece of chocolate, you want to see what's in store in life ahead for you, link will be in the description down below as usual for you to play along. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. So I was very deliberate about selecting the 6 because actually quite a lot of the cages in this puzzle are forced. Like a 4-cell, 10 cage, minimize every digit, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, that gets you to 10. Can't do it any other way. 23, this is 6, 8, and 9. Again, can't do it in any other way. If you maximize it, it's 7, 8, and 9, that's 24. Take 1 away, it has to be the 7 is decreased to a 6. That leaves me with a difference of 5 and 7, that's not in the 10 or the 23 to place in these 2 cells. Still no digits. 2, 4, well, sorry, 24. Why is that 2, 4? 7, 8, and 9. And digits, finally. 7, 8, and 9. Look at the 6, 8, and 9. That has to be a 6. That's not 6. And we have a digit in minute 1. Any more given cages? Yes. 8 and 9 in here. 17 cage in 2 cells. This is also forced. You have to maximize them to stand a chance of doing this. And where to next? So my temptation, actually there's quite a few places I can go, such as this cage. So box 5 I think is forced because we have a RENBAN around the box of chocolates and a cage outside it that's 18. Maybe I'll just do that quickly. So imagine a number line here. And this is sort of the way to think about these RENBAN lines. I need to select 6 contiguous digits such that the numbers that are outside the line add up to 18. Now, I only see one way of doing this, which is 1, 8, and 9, as in on the RENBAN line, it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. If I shift this to the left, it's too big. I'm left with 7, 8, and 9, which is 24. If I shift this to the right, it's too small. I'm left with 1, 2, and 9, which is 12, not 18. So I think that is forced. No 1 in the 6 cage means that this is 2 and 4. Can't do it any other way. 1, 5 is no longer available. 2 and 4 on a Dutch whisper line means that can't be a 1. That's not 4 away from either of these 2 digits. So that's 8 or 9, that's 2 or 4. And then we know the rest of this is 3, 5, 6, 7. I'm not going to place these. Now, the other place that I was thinking about is in here, is this 15 cage with a 10 cage on a Dutch whisper line. And I'm just going to think out loud through this. So I just want to eliminate the possibility of not having a 1 in the 10 cage. So one way of doing, so 10, there's many ways of doing it. You could do a 1 with 2, 7. You could do a 1 with 3, 6. You could do a 1 with 4, 5. If you don't use a 1, it can only be 2, 3, and 5. Which, because it's on a Dutch whisper line, is all too low. Even if I make this the 5 and these the 2, 3, I have a 2, which is only 3 away from a 5 next to it. I have a 3, which is only 2 away from a 5 next to it. So that doesn't work. There has to be a 1 in here. Now, it leaves me with a 9, and with the exception of 4, 5, that's almost always composed of a high digit and a low digit. And if you think about it, it has to be that the high digit is in here, and the 2 low digits are around it. Hopefully that makes sense. Because if I do 2 high digits and a low digit in the middle, that's too big. Even if I make this minimized with 5 and 6 and a 1 or 2 in the middle, I'm already at 12. So low, high, low. 5 is not an option because that would require a double 1. So the options that we actually have, and I'm fairly sure this is forced again, I think because of, I mean, it's not necessarily, yeah, it is forced. This is 7, this is 1, 2, this is 1, 2. Can't have a 6 in here because it'll be 1 and 3, and the 3 is too close to the 6. If I put an 8 in here, even with a 1, 2, it's too big. So that's a 7 with a 1, 2. That forces the 15 cage as 6 and 9. The 9 that's pencil mark looks up here and gives me an 8 and a 9. And then I'm left with 3, 4, and 5, and 8. No 8 here. Well, 1, 8, 9, no 8 there. That's an 8. That's not 4. That's not 4. One of these is a 4. Excuse me. And it looks like this is as far as I can take it. I know up here I have a 1 and 2. That's this 1 and 2 specifically is in this column. And this 3, 4, or 5 is in here. I'm kind of thinking about it. Could this be, it could be a 1, surely. I can have a 1 with a 3 and then 2, 4. Yeah, that works. I'm not sure I can resolve this from here. I need to look elsewhere. Such as this 7. Not in any of these. That's a 7. That's now 3, 5, 6 to complete box 5. On a RENBAN line, 1 and 2 can't possibly be next to a 3. On a 14 cage, you can do this in one of two ways. You can do 5, 9. Well, the 5 can't be in this cell. It can only be here. So 5, 9 works. And then 6, 8. And again, I've got 3, 5, 6 in here. That's the 6 with an 8. Which gives me a 7 in... No, it doesn't. What is missing? A 4 in here. That's not a 4. Now, you'd be tempted to say this has to be a 3 because I have high digits in here. But remember what I said at the very beginning, you could have a 5 next to a 9. So unfortunately, that's not resolved. I think it is resolved. Look at this RENBAN line. So essentially, I know that there is a 7 on here. I know that there is an 8 or 9 in here. If I make this a 9, that's an 8, and then I've broken it. Where am I going to put an 8 on this RENBAN so that it's connected to the 7 and the 9? Well, it's already connected. I mean, this would be somewhere 5 and 6 or something. But the fact that if this is an 8 and that's a 9, you can see there's no purple line between them. That's forced. That's 9. That's 8. That's 6. And an 8 can only be next to a 3 from the options we have available on this Dutch whisper line. Now, to make this work, remember I don't have 9 available. In fact, I can place this digit. That's an 8. I need 3, 5... So it's essentially 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. And the 6 is in here. 3, so it's essentially 3, 5, 6 as a combo in there, and this is not the 6. Is that correct? I think it is. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and yeah, 9 is not available. Which leaves me with only one way of probably doing the 8, which is 1 and 7, I think. And that's a 2. Yeah, because the 2 has to go with a 6 to make an 8. I need the 6 to connect the 4 to the 7 and 8. And then the Dutch whisper line tells me that this is the 1, this is the 7. Which shockingly gives me like nothing. It tells me that's not a 3, but 5 and 6 work. Okay. was kind of hoping for a bit more of a resolution here, but not to be. I've got a 3-5 pair though, so that's the 6. That's a 9. That's a 6. That's not 6 anymore. That's a 3-5. Got 3-5 with a 3-4-5 triplet, and one of them is a 4. We knew that, so that's as good of a resolution as I'm going to get, it seems. Am I going to go down here next? 7 and 4 away. This could be 2 or 3. 4 or more away. I think if this is 3, this is broken, because 4 or more away is 7, 8, or 9. I don't have any other remaining options. I think this is forced to be a 2, forced to be a 6, and this has to be 5 or more away. It's not 6, it's 7, 8, or 9. Next to the 2. Not sure how helpful this is, if I'm honest. That's not 1 or 2, that's 3 or 4. That's not 3. That's not 2. Hasn't really trimmed the 10 cage though, despite all the digits I've been removing. 9 cage, is it useful? I'm really more thinking about the 14 cage, but before I sort of jump across the grid, I'm going to think about this 9 cage. Excuse me. So I can do 1-8, can't do 2-7, can't do 4-5, or 3-6. So I think this is a 1-8 cage, and therefore this is not 8. Yeah, 1-8 is available, 2-7 is not, 3-6 is not, 4-5 is not. This is forced. That's not a 1. So if this is a 9, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cell cage, which I'm pretty sure means I can't have a 9 on there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is 7 cells. I can't have a 9. So I think this has to be a 7. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that is a 7. That's forced. That's not a 7. Not that it's giving me much, if I'm honest, because, yeah, 7 doesn't clear anything at the top. So I've placed 1 and 8. I have a 9 for sure in here. So essentially the remaining cells are 2, 3, 5, 9. So this is 2, 3, 5, 9 with a definite 9. If I place a 2 in here, that would be 3, that would be 2, that's fine. If I place a 3, that would be 2, 4, 1, 3, that's all fine. So I'm not sure this is resolvable as is. These 2 cells, all right, this might actually be useful. What's the remaining numbers we've got in here? 3, 4, and 5, it seems. And this cell, surely that's now known, that's a 7. Yeah, 7, 7, that's a 7. Right, I don't know if we've really, well, I think the 1 is now forced. Yeah, 1, 8, 1, that's a 1. And then the 2, 3, 4, 5 setup that's going on in here, we don't really know how to conclude, but that's 1. And of course, these don't resolve. It is what it is. 6 and 7. Right, time to think about 14, I think. So, before we get too far, here is a few things that are somewhat forced. 3 has to be inside the cage. Just Sudoku moves it from in here, not in these cells. That's a 3. 6 is also forced into the cage because I can't repeat it on the RENBAN. It's not in these 3 cells. It's in here. So I'm already at 9 with 3, 6. I'm just going to write them in here so I can actually see the total. For a 14 cage, I'm already at 9. I need 5 left. And it's not 2, 3 because I've already placed the 3. It's 1, 4. So this is 1, 3, 4, 6, and it leaves 8 and 9 in here. That's an 8, that's an 8, that's the 9. That's not the 9, that's the 9. And obviously these are not 6s. That's as far as we can take it, it seems. That's not 8 or 9, that's a 1, that's forced again. I can't have a 2 repeated on the RENBAN line, so that's a 2, which gives me the 3, the 4. These are not 3 or 4, that's a 5, that's a 2. This 3 gives me the 5, the 3. 4 and 5 gives me a 3 in here. Lovely. And therefore, to complete this column is 4, 5, 6, which works 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it doesn't actually resolve the 1, 8 because both of them work. Incredibly. I could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or I could do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How annoying is that? Let's move on. We did the 14 cage. And it really doesn't look like it's resolvable at this point. So how about the 23? I mean, come on, this surely it's time to do something about this. I've ignored it for too long. Let's have a think. So obviously, what is not contiguous, given I've got 6, 8, and 9, means that there is a 7 in here. This 7 tells us that's the 7. I mean, more important, I mean, there's no 7 on this RENBAN line because 6 and 8 are not available. So that 7 is placed. And then essentially I have either a run of 1, 2, 3, 4 with a 5, which I don't. 5 is in here. Therefore, I have a run of 2, 3, 4, 5 with a 1 in here. 2, 1. And then these are 2, 3, 4, 5. No 2s, no 5s. I have a 5 for sure in here with a 3, 4. That's definitely with a 1 from there. That's not a 1. Then I have a 2 for sure in here with a 3, 4 and a 3, 4 with a definite 6. But incredibly, none of them are necessarily, again, resolved. Take a look at where 2 is, though, in column 3. I only see one place for that 2, and it's in here. That's the 2. Okay. Right. Box, I don't know how I ignored this for so long. That was there as soon as I placed the 7, 8, and 9. Box 7, in its entirety, is a RENBAN line except for one digit. What digit is that? It can only be a 1. Because I've already placed the 9 on the 8 cell RENBAN. That one gives me the 8, the 1, so it is actually kind of resolved just outside of the box. And then in here I have 3, 4, 5 with a 2. There's a 2 here telling me the order. That's a 2. That's 3, 4, or 5, of course. I'm going to have many of these, it seems. That's not a 6. And then I have 2 of the 3, 4, 5s with a 6 that I cannot place. Okay, that's not the way to resolve this. 10 cage maybe? No 1s, so it's not a 1, 9. I could do 2, 8. So I could do 8 with a 2. I could do 3, 7 presumably, and that 3 tells me the order is 3 and 7. And because I've got 4, 5, and 6 in here, I cannot do 4, 6. Which is quite helpful because I don't have a 5. Therefore, it's high, low, high, low. I don't have a 5 to reverse the polarity kind of oscillation. So I'm pretty sure that's a 3, that's a 7. Therefore, that's a 5, that's a 6. That 3 tells me it's not 3 or 6. That's a 4. That's a 1. That's a 2. That's an 8 or 9 in here. That's a 7. That's a 3. That's a 6. That's a 3. That's a 4. That's a 5. 8 or 9 both work next to a 2, so shockingly not resolved. I need something between an 8 and a 9 that is not 2 or a 3 and is 4 or more away. It's not 4 either, so that's a 1. Yeah, that is a 1 with all of these. What do I have in here? I have another 8, 9 with a 2. That 2 tells me the order. That's a 2. That's 8 or 9. I mean, this puzzle is fighting you every step of the way. We're approaching minute 20. And I mean, we've placed like, 75% plus of the grid. And it's still not leaping off the page to say, yep, I'm done. I'm solved. Wow. Yeah, 8 is still 4 or more away. That's not resolved that way, not resolved that way. Just, I guess, Sudoku. That's the only thing that's left. 7s. Tells me a 7 is in here. This 8 finally resolves this 7, 8, 9 pair. That's an 8. That's a 9. That's an 8. That's an 8. That's a 9. What else do we have? We have 4, 5, 6 in here. That's 6. Yeah, 4, 5, 6 with this. That's 3 of them. That's 4 or 5. That's all of them. That's 4, 5, or 6. Do we have the same thing going on again here? Is in 4, 5, and 6. No, because the 6 is in here. So 4, 5, and 9. Not sure how I missed that. That's a 4, 5. That's that box done. This is 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is... Am I missing something? I must be. Yeah. Look at this. No 3s. That's a 4, 5. That's a 4, 5 pair. That's a 6. That's not a 6. 4, 5 pair. That's a 6. Definite 3, 4, 5 with a definite 3 in here. That's not a 3. Kind of knew that already. That's also not a 3. That's another 4, 5 pair. 4, 5 pair. Being a bit slow. Yeah, that's not a 3. That's a 3. This 3 tells me, yeah, that 3 is kind of gonna help me unwind all of it now. So that was there a while, I just missed it. Lovely puzzle. Willpower. I mean, phenomenal movie, phenomenal puzzle. What more can you ask for, really? Hope you guys enjoyed the video and you loved the puzzle, because I absolutely did. Phenomenal construction as always. I don't know if it really was fighting you every step of the way, all the way until the end, or if I just was blind, Sudoku blind. That's quite possible. But see you guys for the next one. Bye for now.